The Solana price, after this recent return back towards the upside, has then been pushed further back down, but we found resistance crucially at around the $147 level, and something significant is playing out in this area right now. So over the last couple of days, the Solana price has been quite interesting. I brought you a few videos in the last few days showing what was going on, and so far nothing out of the ordinary or unexpected has really been happening. After the recent blow off top, we had this recent push towards the downside. We then broke out as suspected, finding some resistance at around the $171 level, and then being pushed back down to retest this area or this area of this chart here. Now, something interesting is potentially playing out. I said that we would be probably putting in another shoulder here with lows potentially all the way down to around $140 level, although we seem to have held above that currently on the 4-hour chart, and we're seeing a pushback at the moment. If we had this as a shoulder, we could have then another shoulder here and a head position here, showing that we could be potentially playing around in this area for a bit longer before potentially moving back towards the upside. Zooming in on the 1 hour, we can see another chart pattern unfolding here, and we can see another falling wedge, which I did talk about yesterday, although we have already taken a travel a little bit further down than we were looking at before. But as I mentioned, these do tend to break in an upwards direction more often than not. If we do take a drop to the downside, then we will potentially find support in this area here, and if we are unable to find support, then we could potentially be looking at a further dump down towards the $120 level. You can see in the last hour we did wick down on this red candle here, and we then pushed quite aggressively back towards the upside, moving from $149, currently sat just above $150. If we look back previously, we can see that we are now in line with this previous resistance here, and again all of this support here. We then bounced through a few times, and we found again we are now still holding well above that level. So as long as we're able to continue to be putting in highs above the $140 level, then the Solana price continues to look bullish in my opinion. Obviously trading is risky, go away and do your own research. In terms of a breakout from this current smaller chart position, we would then be looking at something like this, which would bring us up to $176, which again, if we look back through time, is again into this sort of congested zone where there's a lot of trading. So this could be a significant one for us. Another possibility of what we're seeing here is we could be putting in another sort of rising wedge, because obviously the rising wedge does tend to be more of a bearish pattern, but that's something that we will look at in a future video, because right now what I'm seeing is we're holding this level of support, which is key to see. Jumping back to the 4 hour, if we drop a Fibonacci retracement from the $215 high down to this $133 low on the Solana chart, we can see that this red level, the 0.236, we are currently sat just below. And so in the shorter term, what we do need to see is this to be able to break through and push back above this red line here, and that would have obviously happened if we are able to break out of this descending pattern here. And we can see the price target coming in, as I mentioned already, around the $175, which was obviously going to be the price target for this pattern here. Going back to this head and shoulders pattern here, the height from the bottom of the head all the way to the neckline, and then bring it up to the neckline here, which obviously we would need to get to from this falling wedge in order to then bring us back up to the 786 at around the $197 level, which previously we can see offered us a few hits of resistance before we had that sort of breakthrough blow off top. So at the moment things are looking quite static. We haven't seen a huge amount of volume. As I mentioned yesterday, there's a big holiday in Asia at the moment, which will finish tomorrow, and therefore sort of you're looking towards Wednesday, and obviously due to time difference you're looking into Wednesday, etc., where we might see the market pick up in terms of the volatility, which has been much lower as we see consolidation in the rest of the crypto market. Jumping across to the Bitcoin Solana chart, again we've seen a very similar thing play out almost perfectly in correlation with the US dollar Solana chart, where we've had this breakout to the upside. We then got a retrace, and now we're finding support at around similar levels that we had over on the other chart. Obviously not completely identical, but a very similar looking chart. If we look at the Bitcoin price after this big sort of dump to the downside, we then had this sort of lower chart pattern play out where we broke to the upside. We've now, what we're doing is basically turning old resistance here into support again. Last time we had support at these levels, you can see we had support at these levels, and that's when it moved to the upside. And the reason I'm showing you this, guys, is obviously Bitcoin does tend to move the markets. When Bitcoin is doing well, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, etc. will all start to perform more strongly, and being smaller market cap coins, they will then perform much more aggressively against Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin needs a much bigger amount of money to be able to move the markets. Guys, since hitting 10,000 subscribers, I've decided to do a Solana giveaway at the $15,000 point. So make sure you're hitting the like button as well as subscribe, and comment on the video down below if you are interested in a Solana giveaway, which I'll be giving in the next couple of weeks as the channel continues to grow. So guys, thanks very much for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you again later with another video. Bye bye.